Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this segment of One-on-One. I'm Martin Falls, and joining us, somebody you're going to love. She's full of personality. She's really worked her way up to where she is today. And if you talk about energy and you look up energy in the dictionary, she is energy. Wendy Thibodeaux, the assessor of Lafourche Parish, is our guest. When we come back from the break, we're going to find out what makes her tick, what's her favorite song, a little bit of everything about Wendy Thibodeaux. Don't go away. One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer. And welcome back to One-on-One. As promised, the assessor of Lafourche Parish, from the parish, Wendy Thibodeaux. Good to see you.
Good morning.
You're always smiling. You're always full of energy. Where'd you get that from?
I got that from my siblings growing up with 3 boys. You had to constantly be on the move. Yeah. If not, they would leave you behind. And
were you a tomboy?
I was very much a tomboy.
You played softball with them and all
I'm not athletic. I was just a tomboy. I grew up where my mom put us out of the house on a Saturday morning right after the cartoons were over with and told us don't come back until the streetlights are on. Yeah. And we, rode our bikes in the neighborhood, played hide and seek, climbed trees, jumped over fences. It was survival.
What was your favorite cartoon? You mentioned cartoons.
My favorite cartoons was probably Speed Racer.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're a little younger than me, a lot younger, so we went from Road Runner to Speed Racer, right?
Yes, we watched Bugs Bunny and stuff. We would get the TV guide. I know a lot of younger people aren't going to know what that is, but we'd get the TV guide in the mail, and me and my brothers would hash it out on who got to watch what at what time, and Bugs Bunny was one of the boys' selections.
You didn't have a TV in every room, right?
We had one TV. It was a piece of furniture, and the children were the remote.
So that brings back a lot of memories. We're going to get to how you made it to Lafourche from the parish. But what was it like growing up in Araby?
Bayou Lafourche reminds me a lot of what St. Bernard and Araby was when I was growing up. Just, very neighborly, very cultured. Very friendly, everybody helped everybody, and safe. It was very, very safe where I grew up in Araby, and that's how I feel about Bayou Lafourche.
Does everybody in Araby have a big personality? Because I used to cover the Saints games, and when I was there, I'd run into the Araby tailgaters. Everybody's just sort of larger than life.
I don't know if it's in our DNA or what, but it is true. Matter of fact, I still tailgate. I have a group from St. Bernard that I go tailgating with for the Saints games all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be a learned behavior. It's expected.
Yes.
Over there, and but it's such a fun culture. And it's so different than neighboring parishes, but I mean, it's just like going through Cutoff, La Rose, or Galliana, then Golden Meadow, then Grand Isle. 5 different cultures, accents a little different in all of them. But when you get to where you grew up, it's very bold and it's a fun bold.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, and when I was little, my grandparents and my parents always made me, you couldn't just stand there. You had to go in, tell everybody hello, kiss everybody hello. Talk to, engage in conversation. And before you would leave, you had to kiss everybody goodbye and tell everybody goodbye. I still do that to today. My kids hate it. It takes me at least 20 to 30 minutes to leave a room.
So your kids tell you 20 minutes before they really want to hit the door where we have to be somewhere?
Yes, and they don't go to restaurants or the grocery store with me because if I see somebody, I'm talking to them, I'm, asking how they're doing and catching up.
I bet they, in a way, dreaded when you were becoming the assessor. They said, Mom was going from bad to worse. She's going to be talking to everybody.
Yes, my son, we would go to a restaurant and so everybody would come up and start talking and asking questions. And now my son just comes to the restaurant with me and he'll just eat like this, won't even look up. But I try and impress the same etiquette that my grandparents instilled in me, I still do that to my children. And if you ask anybody, my children are very engaging, and they walk up, they tell you hello, they introduce themselves and so forth. So I'm extremely proud of that.
What did your parents do for a living?
My mother was a housewife for the first part of my life, and then she went and worked for the school board office, and then she got a job with the federal government. In the end, after we were all gone, she actually achieved being part of a team that wrote the computer program for the accounting for the federal government. She received an award and everything for it. So it was, I get a lot of who I am and my strength and endurance from her. And my dad was an undercover narcotics detective.
Really?
Yep. My grandfather was sheriff of St. Bernard Parish when I was a little girl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's where the political part comes in.
Okay. Mom sacrificed a lot. And then when she felt it was her time to shine a little bit, she shined.
Yes, she did. She never quit. She always figured it out no matter what came in front of her. Very, very strong woman. Very strong woman. Like, I am so glad she instilled what she instilled in me.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
How'd you make it to Lafourche?
I was working in New Orleans, and I met a guy, and he lived down here in Lafourche Parish. He was working in New Orleans at the time, and he was like, he asked me to marry him, and he was from La Rose, and he asked me to, he wanted to move back home, and I didn't have any responsibilities, any children or a house note or anything. I was like, okay, so I moved down to Bahia. It was a culture shock to a certain extent, but for the most part, just like I was saying before, it was very comforting because it was very similar. It was very familiar the way I grew up. So I just had to get used to speaking English and throwing some French words in there and how people pronounce the same word in Chalmette as they do down to Bahia. For instance, like Henri and Henry. Like when I read it on a piece of paper, it was Henry, not Henri.
Right.
Things like champagne, it's champagne. People I went to school with that name. And a funny story is that when I was interviewing, because I worked at the assessor's office in St. Bernard Parish, so when I moved here, Mike Martin had just became assessor, and I was looking for a job because I cannot sit home. I am not a homebody.
Yeah, you're not that type.
No, not at all. So I was going to Thibodeaux to go meet with Mike Martin to interview for a job. So I was on LA1 coming from La Rose, and, he told me stay on LA1. Just stay on it. Don't cross any bridges. Just stay on LA1. You'll be able to get to the office. He's like, look, if you come in and you go to the bridge in Lockport to No Ways, because I wanted to stop and get something. I had to pick up something at one of the businesses there. So he's like, look, when you stop on LA1, if you go to the Lockport Bridge, you went too far. So I'm driving on LA1, doing all of the curves in Lockport. I go to the Lockport Bridge. I'm like, okay, I went too far. So I turn around and I call him and I'm like, listen, I can't find it. Where is it? And he's like, look, turn around, go, when you get to No Ways, take a right. So I think I was going to Town Hall or something. And I'm like, okay. So I'm driving back south on LA1 and I'm looking for a sign that says No Ways. And I'm looking and looking, I don't see anything, so I call him again. I turn around, I go to the bridge. I repeat this 3 times. And I'm calling him, getting more and more aggravated. I'm like, I do not see a sign that says No Ways. He goes, Wendy, it is so big you can't miss it. It's NOAHS. I'm like, that's Noah, not No Ways. And he was like, no, it's No Ways. That's the way we pronounce it. So that was a little learning curve there as well.
You had to morph into. That's pretty good stuff.
Yes.
You seem like you could talk to anybody. I mean, if the governor walks in, you're the same. If a parish president walks in, you're the same. I bet if President Trump walked in this studio today, you're the same. You don't put on airs. You just seem to be Wendy.
Yes, that is a very true statement.
Who taught you how to do that?
My grandfather, the one that was the sheriff, he was a very, very honest man, and what you saw is what you got. And he always told me, he's like, Wendy, you know you're only good as your word. Never, you don't have to embellish anything. If you feel like that, just say it. That way you don't have to remember about what lie you told. And as I'm getting older, the memory's not as good, so it worked to my benefit. I think people appreciate the honesty that comes with me. You may not always like what I say, but you can take it to the bank. It is truthful.
Lafourche politics, and I can say this because I was born in Lafourche, but all my cousins live in Lafourche, my grandparents live in Lafourche. Of course, they're deceased now, but I've watched Lafourche politics. It can get testy. It's very strong personalities. I said there's more A personality in Lafourche Parish than anywhere in the nation. And nobody's going to disagree with me. But that's what drives industry. That's why Lafourche is so well known for. They don't have millionaires. We got billionaires.
Yes.
And so you decide you're going to fill in as assessor, but then you're going to run. Were you nervous about that, knowing what Lafourche politics was all about?
Definitely. Definitely. With the unexpected passing of Mike, I was kind of faced with, are you going to run? Everybody was asking, and I was grieving not just my boss, but my friend. Working in such close proximity for so many years, you get to be friends. And, so I was grieving, and I wanted to be respectful to his widow and his child and his family. But, the pressure, everybody was just calling. And I didn't know if I wanted to do that because I know how dirty politics can get growing up. And it gets ugly. And I didn't know if I wanted to put my children through the same thing, just being exposed like that. And I went home and I looked at my daughter. And I was like, okay, you always sit there and say you could be anything you want. If it doesn't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough, because that's what my mother told me. And, how could I sit there and say that to my daughter and be a hypocrite and not do what I knew I needed to do? And so I went and spoke to Tammy Martin, and I told her my intentions and that I was going to run. And, I got their blessing. And then I ran. Talk about scared, though, because I knew I could do the job. The job was not what I was worried about. But I always believed in myself as being a king maker, being behind the scenes, not being the king. And I didn't know if I could do this campaign stuff. And so I just, I just pushed myself and kept going and going and going. And it became it became a natural instinct. And I'm just going to say I didn't wear white pants the whole time I campaigned because I was nervous every time they put me up there and put a microphone and asked questions. But it all worked out. I worked very hard. I did, because I wasn't from Lafourche, and I didn't know, I didn't have the pleasure of growing up with people and people knowing me from my childhood or my family. I had nobody here. So I just really pushed hard and talked to people and let them know what I was about and let them learn a little bit about me, and it all worked in my favor. My plan B, if I wouldn't have won for assessor, was going to be to open up a donut shop, because I love beer and I love donuts. And I was going to open up a donut shop and call it Thibodeaux Nuts.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
The women of Lafourche, I've said this so many times on my show, y'all sort of broke the mold.
We did.
Men controlled politics for the longest time. And look, I watched it in Terrebonne Parish. Every now and then a woman would run for judge, but they weren't taken seriously. And I kept saying on my show, me and Jimmy DeGate used to always say, there's going to be a day when the women are going to rise up and realize the power they have. Then in Lafourche, it all started popping. Woman DA, women judges, woman assessor. We can go down the line. But when did that light bulb go off in Lafourche? And was that a conscious decision that, hey, us women, we got a lot of power if we put our minds to it? Or was that just the boldness of Lafourche? One stepped up, then another stepped up, and women started realizing, well, wait, if they could do it, I could do it.
Yes, and what I love about Lafourche and the women in Lafourche is that we're all very different personality-wise, very different.
No
we
doubt.
approach situations very, very differently, but collectively, we are a force to be reckoned with. And I love supporting, the DA, the clerk, the judges, and they do the same for me. Mm-hmm. And, we all working together, it is just amazing what we can accomplish. And, a lot of us, we do the girls' leadership and talk to these young girls and let them know that, you can do it. It's not easy. It's very, that we have fears just like they do. And I ran for assessor because I love what I do. If you talk to Christine says the same exact thing. Annette says the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a conscious decision saying, oh, I'm a woman and I'm going to do this. It was, I love what I do and I know I can do it. I've been doing it. Mm-hmm. If this is what I have to do to keep my job and keep doing what I love to do, then so be it. I'm just going to cross that bridge too. I'm just going to
But here's the barrier y'all broke. Y'all absolutely were all qualified to do what y'all did. But for the longest time, it was just a given that to be DA in Lafourche, you had to be a man. Or the other position, judges, your position, it just defaulted to the man. Then the women, and look, most guys will tell you, if they're smart, the women are highly qualified, and when they want something, they get it done. Give the job to a woman, it will get done. So y'all figured it and started pushing the button, and then boom, 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 boom. I bet when y'all walk in a restaurant, y'all see each other together, and y'all group together, the men's hands start shaking. Hear that, huh, men? So you're right. It's a coalition now, isn't it?
It is, and it's a good feeling that, I can lean on them if I have questions, and they do the same for me, but it's really not that much because we handle our business. Like, we handle it and we talk about things. We communicate a lot. I find the communication between all of the public offices communicate a lot better now than before. And if you look at it, all the women in office right now in Lafourche Parish, we're all first women elected to those positions. And I'm very proud of that. I know Christine is, I know Annette is, Marla, Rebecca, like it's very comfortable.
And I say a lot of that in jest about the guys, but like Cam endorsed Christine. So the men in Thibodeaux have it figured out, or Lafourche have it figured out. So I have a lot of fun with that, obviously.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.